You fucking come over here where it's safe. That's it, mate. Come on.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Clarence, mate, you alright?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Fuck, get out of there.
Fucking hell. Poor cunt.
Oh, yeah, Clarence, mate. Yeah, should be alright now.
Yeah, mate.
Jesus.
Just hold on.
Oh, no. Fucking early. Fucking that scene of War of the Worlds? Have you seen War of the Worlds?
Yeah.
And the lightning's just fucking constantly coming down and fucking hitting. The fucking tripods come out and they fucking start killing
You're missing
everyone.
a once-in-a-lifetime sighting here. Major live in concert.
Hey?
You're missing the whole thing, cunt.
You seen the original War of the Worlds?
Yes, mate.
Clarence, I'm fucking sorry, mate. What we can do? Holy shit! Oh, God.
Just hang in there, mate.
It looks like he's still breathing. He's still breathing.
Look, Clarence, mate, it doesn't matter how many times we get beat down. What matters is that we get the fuck up and we keep fucking trying.
You're right, Donny.
Now, who the fuck are you, mate?
I'm Clarence Claymore.
Who the fuck are you, mate?
I'm Clarence Claymore.
Say it with your fucking chest.
I'm Clarence Claymore.
Show me what you got, mate.
Take that.
Fucking touch me, cunt. Fuck, mate. We got a lot of work to do.
Glasses on, told him pick a pill, shit is red or blue. I told all the ops to eat shit and get cancer too. Bobby got that cell phone stick, you better answer, dude. My wife got a body on that bitch, is she a dancer too? It's Big Hank, fuck they talking about? Fuck a money sprint, I cannot hold it, it's a large amount. Bobby got his purse, but he dropped it and the purse fell out. Hit his head, told him it's some shit he should have thought about.
Going to the gym, and my son will be downstairs working out. I come in, he look at me, rolls eyes, and go upstairs. I go upstairs, he'll leave. I said, I will get home. I said, yo, what's up? He said, I don't need everybody being my friend because you my father and all that shit, man. You know, I said, yo, my nigga, like, you know I'm some cool nigga, right? You know I'm some extra, like, fly cool nigga, right? I talked to this nigga, like, how they legends, they doing podcasts. They said, we make more money than you, nigga. We sit here and make more money than you. I know you don't want to play the Cash App, open your bank account game on the phone when we see each other. I know you don't want to open your phones up and see how much niggas got in the account. You made $2 million.
I know you don't want no ATM battle, nigga.
Yeah, nigga don't want to, nigga, we make more money than you, nigga. You talking about, oh, they podcast. Nigga, because we getting chicken. We make more money than you. You better come when you want a job. We might got a job for you, nigga. Yo, Nick, did we throw you a 25,000 bonus for nothing the other day? Throw it on there.
Just for nothing.
Throw it on.
Attention, Starbucks. I'd like to give one person the opportunity to buy me a coffee. In exchange, I'll sit down with you for 5 minutes to discuss my world-class crypto trading strategies. Anybody? You may be wondering why, if I'm so wealthy, well, Bitcoin's down right now, so I'm struggling a little bit. Nobody. Wow.
Nigga Chain Laboratories.
Nigga chain. Some will bridge and others feel the pain. Nigga chain. AI layer 2 technology. Nigga chain. Quantum proof Gorillium TPS. Nigga chain. Leave the hood and make your mama proud. Nigga chain. The tech is real and you are missing out.
Dude, the world is on fire. 90% of my kitty cat tokens are down. 90%. Japan is down too? Shit, how much of Japan am I holding? I don't see it on Binance, dude. Are you sure that's a token? Of the country? Dude, I don't care about the country, man. I'm talking about crypto.
Yo, Pat. You said you wanted to talk, bro? Oh, shit.
You know that crypto dip you told me to buy, Blake?
Yeah?
Yeah, well, it kept fucking dipping, and I kept fucking buying like you told me to.
I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah, and now I'm down 80% on all my positions, and my rent's due in 2 days, and I have no money in my bank.
Bro, what are you talking about? You're literally driving a Lambo, dog.
You know it's rented, Blake.
Oh, my God.
I'll return it tomorrow morning.
Jesus Christ, bro. I'm sorry. All right, but the bull run's literally already over, dude. You should have taken profits. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
What the fuck did you just say?
So the bull run's over, bro.
What do you mean the bull run's over? You're fucking over! You're over! You're over!
I hate when people say Soul Season this, we have a meme super cycle. I was talking to this one guy and he said, oh, Trump coin was gonna save the market. Brother, have you seen what's been going on? We have every celebrity launching meme coins. Soul is damn near close to $200 fucking dollars. For fuck's sakes, my mom texted me about fucking Trump coin. I can't believe all these people saying, oh, Soul's gonna bounce back here. This and that. Like, shut the fuck up. If I hear this one more fucking time, I'm gonna take a dildo and shove it up your ass, you fucking dickhead. We are going to zero, goddammit.
Nobody knows about that fucking degenerate life when you're fucking down 40,000 and you battle the fuck back. You say, you know what? I'm a fucking strong, independent man. And you're not gonna tell me I should go to bed. I'm gonna battle the fuck back. And I'm gonna fucking get my money back. And guess what? I got my motherfucking money back. That's right!
Asset. Well, Bitcoin is the best crypto asset. Okay, what's the second best? There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset. There's a crypto asset. It's called Bitcoin, right? Right? There's no second best. Okay. But take all your money, buy Bitcoin. Then take all your time, figure out how to borrow more money to buy more Bitcoin. Then take all your time and figure out what you can sell to buy Bitcoin. And if you absolutely love the thing that you don't want to sell it, go mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with it. And if you've got a business that you love because your family works for the business that's in your family for 37 years and you can't bear to sell it, mortgage it, finance it, and convert the proceeds into the hardest money on earth.
Do you hear what the Rock is cooking, Charlie? The rug is coming, Charlie. The rug is coming, you guys. When the CMC closes, DCC, CMC, and CC are off of YouTube for all of July.
Hey.
All of July, Charlie. That's it. Rugged. Gone. No more. There for the whole month of July. No 4th of July stream. No Cinco de Mayo. It doesn't matter that it's not Mayo. It doesn't matter. We're not going to be here for it and stuff because we're going to be teaching the crypto mindset Q3 and cash out course in July.
So what you're telling me is when the bottom of the 60-day cycle comes in and World War III has been averted, it's all, we're so back, then we're going to be doing that exclusively for the crypto mindset course. And we're not going to be celebrating that on YouTube. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what I'm saying, man. Miguel and Charlie in sombrero hats. That is true. That is right.
Well, yeah, we'll do some special things for the Q3 crypto mindset course because I gotta say, the people who jump into the Q3 crypto mindset course, these are the absolute people that absolutely fucking deserve a good bull market, a good end to the bull market, in my opinion, right?
Charlie, should we do a Dos Equis webinar?
I'm not against it.
It might be a first. We've never done it before, but that'd be an interesting Q&A. That'd be an interesting Q&A.
To be honest, with the kind of, how much, the Iran thing has really kind of messed up the current financial markets and cycles and stuff like that. Like, we're going to have plenty of time within the month of July to have extra flash webinars, to have the Take Profits course webinars, to have extra flash webinars on those, and then to have some silly fun webinars along the way. So we're never going to add more to than just what's on the schedule for you guys, but you'll see that in the course. And then the other thing is we were talking about this a little bit before the stream because Polemos recently tweeted out that they're going live with their TGE here in less than 24 hours. on Monday, the 23rd. So that's going to be awesome. But then also, I mean, I'm not going to say a certain type of inside, but we got some inside scoops allegedly, possibly, maybe with kind of how that's working, playing out and stuff like that. So in addition to that, there's other stuff in other ecosystems that's brand new coming out as well. I don't know if you want to talk to that, but all those things together, I mean, depending on how much capital people are working with, of course, our number one goal here is during these kind of like turbulent times where everybody's freaking out, we want you guys to have a good time, right? And then, I mean, the World War III humor is going to hit a little different there with those memes that you got going, but there wasn't any.
That was a pretty A1 meme. Like,
oh, that was good. That was good. There wasn't any internet back during World War II, so this is going to be a little different. But so we want you guys to have a good time when everybody's freaking out, and run around with their heads cut off. Like, that's a time where you need to collect yourself, be in a group that's positive, be in a group that understands what's going on, and also be in a group that is actively making some short-term plays, because the amount of volatility that comes from geopolitical events is kind of like a little bit of a whipsaw action. So yeah, it's easy to buy the lows, as things come down. Yeah, we know the end of the 60-day cycle is going to be sometime in the last week of July, most likely. We'll probably talk about that here today as well. But let's say, for example, you had $1,000. What's the likelihood of finding a 2x within this current crypto mindset? Of course, there are no guarantees. Absolutely not. The risk is still there, yada, yada, yada. But we have a propensity to find some plays here where if you have like $1,000 that you're playing with in swing trading cash and stuff like that, boom, we take that 1,000 and we find a few X's there for you. And then on top of that, right, we want to help you guys find different strategies during that volatility to basically make more, right? So that way, because like, here's the thing. How do people who have been in the crypto game for a very long time keep buying the dip? It's like, bro, it's like the 5th dip this week. How do you guys keep buying the dip? Well, it's like, as long as you make your capital work for you in the market, you have to, during these types of events, I think you do have to take a little bit more risk than maybe you might be comfortable with, just a little bit, not a crazy amount more. But if you do that and you play it right, there is a very good chance that you can basically drum up more. Because like the idea is, right, like if we do a 1 or 2 week swing play on, let's say, 2 different things that make a good amount of X's or something, then you could take that, sell it right away, mostly into cash, of course, keep a bit of a moon bag, but sell it mostly into cash. And then what do you have? Magically more money to buy the dip instead of sitting on your hands and like going to the fryers and trying to, sell a kidney, put a second mortgage on the house.
Girlfriend's purse always has money,
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, I mean, she's got that good job, right?
I mean, I would hate for you guys to have to go to, the old grandma. There's a very famous meme of like, here's your money for your PlayStation.
Yeah. So, we're going to help you guys out in the course. We're not going to be on YouTube. So, too bad, so sad. But yeah, it's going to be a fun one and definitely a unique one. But that's going back to my original point. Like, everybody who's in this course absolutely deserves to, who is paying attention as well, of course, deserves to have, some extra fun, some, good plays, and then also a really good move in the bull market, because it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of conviction, and it takes a lot of persistence to be able to jump into something like this in the face of, whatever you want to call it, right? It depends on which part of the world you're in, but just in the face of kind of ridiculousness on the global stage. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the wife's boyfriend.
Money from your wife's boyfriend. Hey.
I mean, yeah, just be careful, you guys. But yeah, we're going to be talking about all kinds of opportunities. One thing that's going to happen that, sadly we won't be here on YouTube to help you guys out with this, but how to deal with the Sonic airdrop. The Sonic airdrop officially ended 4 days ago on the 18th, and they're going to distribute the airdrop in a few weeks, basically. So we'll be into early July, and we will not be here. So we're going to talk everything about the airdrop, what to do with the NFTs, what's the next cycle and points, as well as all the new tokens that are going to start launching on Sonic very soon. Coinbase launching for Sonic. It's much more than a rumor now. It's looking pretty legit now that like we're going to have Sonic on Coinbase. I don't know what dirt Andre got on that bald-headed motherfucker, but something happened. And you know what I think it is? I don't mind saying this on YouTube just because, you know, hey, I feel bad for you guys. Like, we're about to, like, so bye. Gone. You know, gone forever, you guys. But, like, I think there was a lawsuit in the background over Aerodrome.
Yeah. Interesting.
Remember how all that shit got real quiet? It got real quiet. They tried to change the source. They said, like, oh, we invented Aerodrome. And you know all the codes are ours, and then Andre literally showed you changed 3 lines of code.
Yep,
3 lines of code and some window dressing. And I think he got him there. He got him real bad on that, actually. And
that plus he's on the Epstein list allegedly, according to Fitch.
Trying to derail me right now. Bomb, Iran. Anyway, that shit is so catchy.
Yeah.
Someone told me there's one on Tel Aviv, but I couldn't find it.
Oh yeah, like there's just gonna be a whole slew of those.
But you know, you have Aerodrome, Velodrome, Shadow, and there's some talk of something called Tula that's coming up very, very, very soon, and it's basically a direct competitor to Hyperliquid, except all the token accrual is going to go to S token instead of just like there being a Hyperliquid token. It's going to be sort of a thing to generate basically a giant buy and burn for Sonic tokens. Interesting. You know how much we like buy and burns here.
Oh yeah, the best.
I didn't vote for Bernie, but feel the burn. You know.
What do you call it? Napoleon Hexapart says Iran's war is Israel's plot just to get cheap altcoins. Don't get fooled. It's 60-40 chess. I love it.
There's all been a master plan to buy the most profitable decks on the planet Shadow for $18 a token. This is the master plan.
The real war is between Israel and North Korea, between their hacking groups, right? Lazarus group versus Stuxnet group or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it.
Was it the 2800 unit or something? What was it called?
Oh yeah. I had it pulled up here. I think it was the 8200 unit. Is there?
8200. I look. I have a feeling that the Tel Aviv unit's more advanced, but but you gotta recognize the rings with Jordan over here with like North Korea and the Lazarus group. They got points on the board, dog.
They're a little bit more scrappy, but they get it done.
Yeah, more scrappy. But dog, they literally have like 6 championship rings. Like they have stolen more money than fucking anybody on the cyberspace. In crypto, they are the dawns of like stealing money, dudes.
They've literally used crypto to fund their nuclear program, but which is absolutely insane. And that also shows you. I mean, Iran's not doing that. Iran's not capable of that. So. That's another W, but for the Israelis, they're against them. But it's kind of interesting. I talked about this a bit on my show last week when I talked about the exchange that got hacked. It's like I ran through missiles at the stock exchange for Tel Aviv's stock exchange or whatever, and then then Tel Aviv, hacked their one of their cryptocurrency exchanges and basically burned $100 million. Just to fuck with them, but that allegedly that exchange had links to funding the Iranian military, which is interesting. But and like some people might be like, God damn, like if they're hearing that for the first time, they're like, is crypto bad? It's like, no, it's just a tool, right? If they didn't have crypto, they'd try to do that with other financial instruments as well.
Do you guys know there's been more weapons sold through gold than probably if we really add up how many humans have traded throughout time, if you think about all the 5,000, how many years gold's been used as money for, like 5,000 years, right? There probably still has been more people that physically traded gold for weapons in our history than has been traded in modern times for gold. I mean, like, Iran. I mean, I don't know why everyone's not getting mad at Iran or Russia or China because they were trading. They were literally trading during, like, because of the SWIFT system being turned off and them having all these basically embargoes and stuff like that and tariffs and stuff on their economy. They were literally sending planefuls of gold, trading with each other, barter system.
Yeah, I think actually, maybe it was Saudi Arabia. I can't remember which country it was, but Brazil like had flown 2 giant planes over. It's like a giant plane of weapons and then a giant plane of gold or something on the return from maybe Saudi Arabia or something. I can't remember what it was exactly a few years ago, but it was just like, damn, the trade would have been a lot simpler with Bitcoin. But
no, definitely. Rolex is allegedly trading Rolexes for gold now. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, the Rolexes have maintained their value more or less, but of course there's no like overwhelming, unless it's a very rare 1 of 1 watch or maybe 1 of 10 or something like that. But like they've just maintained value basically. So you're saying buy gold? Yeah, gold is better than Bitcoin. That's right. I bought a lot of Bitcoin back in 2008, Charlie. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, right. I heard they're what do you call it? Calling gold physical Bitcoin now.
Right. Oh, dude, I almost forgot about this. Remember when we traded Victor Bout for grip?
Bro,
the worst trade in history.
Dude, which trade is worse? This trade or the trade for Luka Doncic to the Lakers? It's like
I want to see Luka literally just for the shock value, but like human casualty wise, like without Victor, like Russia probably wouldn't have been able to do the war. And I mean, he's pretty good at logistics and shit. So like he needed that to basically do the Ukraine war. So like without Victor, we probably the Russians would have suffered even more actually.
Yeah, the way they caught him too was kind of crazy. Like they'd been after him for years, and eventually they got him to do a deal in Thailand, and then they got him in some boardroom where he was going to make the deal, and then they caught him. Right, so they how many dollars were spent to go catch that guy was absolutely insane. Years of effort of what do you call it? The CIA looking at him and stuff like this, and then Brittany Griner goes to Russia, forgets that she has some weed in her bag, and like all that effort. I was just like, what? Like, absolutely insane, bro.
No, definitely. So I tweeted this out earlier today, right? About like, I saw that my buddy Crypto Coffee had tweeted out that like postcards are 10 times more effective than email for onboarding. If you know this, right? I tweeted out direct violence is 10 times more effective than postcards and 100 times more effective than email. I mean, look at this. This is a prime example right here. Look at this. Look, this is how you sell. Buy Hex. Buy Hex. All right. You want to buy Hex? Yeah. That's what I thought so. That's a smart shit. I want to do that one of those days. Just start passing out postcards and just take some action to kick him in the ass or get Kyle. Let me just kick Kyle in the ass.
Be pretty funny. Yeah, like when I was a teacher in Japan or whatever, like when like they had the extra time or whatever, they would be like, hey, here's like a box of like leaflets for the school inside like tissues or whatever, like a little like carry case of tissues. Right. And so you'd be at the train station and like I was just like, I got to get rid of these as fast as possible because I ain't standing out here forever just handing out fucking tissues, right? Mm-hmm. And so my strategy was find the most narrow part of the train station that had the most traffic going through it where people couldn't avoid you. And then basically take your, what do you call it? Your leaflet or whatever that you're doing. And as people pass, you just lightly brush it against their shoulder or their arm or somewhere, that's, not too annoying or whatever. And like 9 times out of 10, they're just like, oh, okay. And then they take it. So it's like, you gotta strategize on those.
No, definitely. But I might have to like I've been feeling that like we need to create a new season in the Pulsechain ecosystem. So I've been devising. This is war talk right now, Charlie. War talk.
Let's go to the war room.
Either we start a crusade to retake the holy charts, or It's Spanish Inquisition time. I mean, this is the timeline we're at right now. I mean, like we either go real draconian, and we start fucking torturing and basically like castrating people in the Pulsechain community, or we rally together and take back the holy charts and through the crusades and stuff. So I'm saying, I mean, what is it? I mean, I guess we're either attacking the XRP Holy Lands or we're going after the Cardano Holy Lands, basically.
Yeah, you'll do a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, depending on who you're rolling with.
Yeah, but I thought it was really fun. I thought like that's actually kind of a funny idea of like that's. I mean, if honey ain't working, let's piss and vinegar it up, I guess.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that somebody said on Twitter, which was like, yeah, that's true. It's like when the chart's down or whatever, Richard Hart says you guys ain't doing enough marketing, right? It's all your fault. And then when the charts are up, he takes all the credit for price being up. It's like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah. Pretty accurate.
I really do think that actually could go viral if we reenact. Like, I got to get a bunch of these postcards that everyone's fucking mailing out now or about to mail out, and do a whole like reenactment of the video. Just start kicking someone in the ass, handing out postcards to every person on the street in Las Vegas.
He did that in Vegas. I bet you somebody would throw hands eventually.
Oh no! Like, Gigi almost got into a fight multiple times, and he was just like, but he has converted a lot of people into numerology and shit. He's like, I mean, it was like, repeal the 19th, repeal the 19th, and he's like. But it's true. Like, I mean, if people are like on the street, actually, like Las Vegas is actually a great place for people to just be like, your money is going to zero. Invest in something for the future. Chain of Jeets. Yeah. But I think we can do. I think the community could do some really viral videos. It's just for shits and giggles, really, but it'd be really funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pulsechain can't go 50x past its sack. That shit is a failure. I mean, dog, no, not really. It's because a lot of money. It also means on entry point as well for a lot of people.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a failure, but I would say that Richard Hart cannot talk as much shit as he probably would like to, because it is true that if he can't outpump a dead tech chain like Cardano that on its third cycle pumped harder, did 100x in the last cycle from absolute low to absolute peak, right? If it can't outpace that, then I guess you got to technically hand it to Charles Hoskinson, because he got that set up pretty good for the first few cycles on Cardano.
Yeah, definitely. But we had a big lack of performance on Ethereum. I mean, even Ethereum right now Ethereum should be like $5,000. Even with Bitcoin barely above 100. Like, where's Bitcoin at right now? $101,000. Ethereum should be about like $5,100 to $5,000 right now.
Yep.
Seriously, I'm not even joking around. Like, I can even do the math right now. Like, I'll do $101,000. $101,000 divided by 15,500. Oops. Is a 6.5x times 780 to the Ethereum bottom. $5,082.
Yep.
So like, we're in there for the tech. Yeah, we are partly, but also to make some money and shit. But like, I think you have to understand the whole the liquidity pool system is completely based off of not Bitcoin, Ethereum. Now there is a Bitcoin component to it, and so if Bitcoin goes up high enough, there's so much money around in the system that money does go into it. But there's also this whole thing where retail is just not in as much right now. And we're mostly getting pushed around by VC money and bank money effectively. So that's why Solana's done really well. But Solana's a chain of Jeets as well. Like,
oh yeah,
Solana,
absolutely.
Being the number one chain, having the number one like mobile wallet that went viral and stuff like that. You have the Phantom wallet, you have TikTok, you have Instagram pushing it. I mean, it's literally had everything massively possible, and the allure that it's going to have in the Solana ETF, which me and Charlie been calling since like early 23 that's going to happen. And it barely hits $300.
Yep.
Maybe it should have probably hit 600 by now, 800 possibly. I mean, just imagine any other
chain. At least minimum like 450 or 500 for sure.
Exactly. Now we were in a very high rate interest rate environment. Also, not as much money printing, and also the Fed running off the balance sheet. So I do suspect things to change a little bit. what did Juan say? Bob Lucas said that this is a failed cycle. So is this a new starting one? I don't know. To me, it seems like, and I'm saying this respectfully, like Bob Lucas looks like he's changing up a story. It's like at least 3 times already in the last year. Because 1 minute it's like I can officially say we're not in a left translated cycle. We're in a right translated cycle for this. And then
that's a little bit of a misinterpretation, just because he's talking about possibilities of we could be in a left translated cycle if we didn't hit 100K before the end of this year. If we were to top out last year, but he talks about probabilities and possibilities. He doesn't say, like, the only thing he said this cycle that he's been absolutely wrong on is at 84K, he was like, I'm going to sell some Bitcoin. And then, but I mean,
this is my main point of like why I do get frustrated with chart dudes a little bit, because they're very squirrely around. I mean, for we have to have possibilities. I do it too, right? It's like, if this doesn't happen, then this. But like when I say stuff, it's very clear of why I'm saying. Like,
well, yeah, you have to have your main case. So it's like,
right,
everything in the market is truly probabilistic, right? There's nothing that's like, hey, if this happens, like, or what do you call it? If XYZ happens, like, it's absolutely going to, do this crazy amount. Like, there's so many factors that go into it. Like, you do have to, like, I mean, that's just how the market works. But the thing that I don't like, and this is why we, talk the way we talk, is like, you have to have conviction on something, right? Like, you have to be able to say, like, okay, right now, like, for example, right, last week when the Solana S1s were refiled, I said, well, we have all the ingredients for us to pump into an alt season right now. And last time we had S1s for Bitcoin, filed, that was October of 2023. We had a 3-month run, and then we had a bit of a dip once the ETF came out, and then we had another 3-month run. So Solana, something similar with Solana is probably very likely. We had all the right factors set there, and then all of a sudden, the Iran thing came up and nuked all markets, not just the crypto market, right? It slowed down the stock market as well, and other stuff. So, like, that's the thing. It's like, even if you're convicted on, like, this is what's going to happen, you're not always right, but it's okay to not be right. Whereas I think, like, somebody like Ben Cohen, for example, I would say this cycle he's a little bit more like authoritative in how he says it, but last cycle for sure he was like, well, maybe it goes up or down, and they kind of dance, like you said, that dance around or beat around the bush a little bit too much. But yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's just like, no, obviously I know what he's trying to say, but at the same time, like, I mean, sure, people interpret it certain ways and everything like that, but it's just
a lot of people don't really understand it in terms of like for example, the thing I could say right now with the current 60-day cycle, right? Because like that comment there, I would actually disagree with Bob if he's saying the current 60-day cycle is a failed cycle. It could be. It's possible if tomorrow, like, peace reigns and like we go up or whatever. But where we're currently at, we went below the cycle low that we had earlier this month. So, the majority of the time that leads to a weak market for the end of the cycle, which would be 1 month of weakness here in July. But can you play that weakness? Absolutely. So if he's right now saying, because I haven't looked at any of his tweets or anything recently, but if he's saying right now we're in a left translated cycle, we're not in a left translated cycle because we're going to recover, we're going to go to new all-time highs from here, I would say that's extremely wishful thinking. Or the opposite, or not the opposite, but another angle could be it's a narrative trying to be built, right? Because there are a lot of Bitcoiners out there, like OGs, who they talk to each other and they try to put out narratives in the crypto Twitter and YouTube, because they think, well, if enough of us say, hey, we're bullish on this or that, when there's a lot of shit going on, maybe the market will follow. And I think that's where it gets manipulative, in my opinion, because they're not looking at the data and taking it as like, hey, here's what's happening. They're going with a narrative or saying, hey, this is going to happen because we want it to, instead of the data's telling us that's what will happen. So, and I mean, yeah, same with on-chain data people and fundamental analysis people always try to put a fake narrative out there to throw you off, right? And when that happens, like that does piss me off because, like who thinks that they can manipulate the market that much when at this point, Bitcoin, it's a multi-trillion-dollar market, or well, not exactly multi, but at least $1 trillion market. So, good. Well, technically it is, multi-trillion-dollar market now, actually. But what do you call it? It's kind of like CNBC, right? They think they have enough viewership that they're going to change the narrative, and it's like, good luck with that. So, because sometimes if a market's small, right? If it's like a meme coin or something like that, you can manipulate the shit out of that narrative. But if it's a macro asset like Bitcoin or the S&P and stuff like that, it's like, unless you're BlackRock, good luck.
Yeah, and another thing too, you should also check out like your. Obviously, besides me and Charlie being your favorite YouTubers, check out the rest of the crypto YouTubers, bro. They're barely YouTubing; they're barely streaming at all right now.
Dude, and the ones who are, I respect. But the fact that like people just are like, I'm going to take a summer vacation because, fuck these markets. It's like, it just shows who really, knows the market, who's really dedicated to it versus, your people who are going to, just leave like a fart in the wind,
Right. It's pretty, There's other crypto channels. Not really. They've all closed up. Shop.
They can't even afford to keep the lights on anymore. How sad.
I know, right? That's hella funny. But I'll answer some super chats real quick. So we got Christian here with the $5 super chat. How's it going, Miguel and Charlie? Moon math on Sol, Sui, Sonic, Punke, ETH. Would you recommend getting any more Sonic at these prices? Yeah, I mean, it's at 27 cents again. It was at 25 cents yesterday for most of the day, basically. I would say for like a day and a half, it was at 25 cents. It's kind of one of the strong levels that I'd be like, because the lower it goes, it's harder for it to go below those levels,
Yeah.
I did say like 21 cents is going to be the next really big power point for it to go below. And then after that, it's really 16 cents is the fucking hardest of all, basically, for it to out pump and stuff like that. But it's being defended heavily at 25 cents. It's now at 27. It was extremely oversold. So at some point, it was just like, why was it selling off so much compared to other L1s? So that's why I bought so heavy. Like, Kraken won't sell me anymore, Sonic. At least not for this week. So I gotta wait till Monday. No whammies. But
I told the bank to have all my loans ready on Monday morning, so I can buy the dip.
That's right. Yeah, I'm going to sell the car off right now. I've got cash. I'm ready to buy. But in terms of moon math for Solana, I'm guessing he has 15 grand in Solana and then 5K in there. 20%. Okay, that's right. I'm reading it correctly. Okay, so he's got about 2 ETH, 1,000 Ponke. So you can do very relatively well, but it's just obviously if we go very if we go very conservative and stuff like that, maybe like a $10,000 Solana, maybe like a $400 suit. You can get some really nice prices. Obviously, I still do believe Sol's at the very least going to reach around like 450 or so. Yeah. You can break its $300 all-time high with the ETF pump. I think the Solana is a standalone ETF, not a basket. But at least some of them, there are people just making the baskets and stuff. But there's people obviously making individual just ETFs as well for Solana. So I think that's enough hype right there that can really send prices pretty sky high. Ponke can maybe get to like $1 billion. That would put it like at $2 per token. Ethereum can maybe like 8,000 is probably very reasonable and stuff because how much it struggled. But 12, I've said since the beginnings of 23, I really still believe like 12 to 14 is the range. But 8,000 could be like, it's going to be somewhere where me and Charlie, we take, this is where the Cash App course comes in, and then kind of where we like just kind of team up and really figure out like how much, like, are we losing a ton of steam and it's barely hitting 8? Maybe it's time to take some off the table,
Yeah, and the cool thing about the Take Profits course is we're going to give you guys data both on macro tops, right? Like where we're, how to kind of spot like where we are at the top of the market, like the tippy top, the top on the day, or at least the week, right? But in terms of like local tops, right? Short-term tops with 60-day cycles, and then different patterns you get with meme coins and different stuff like this. We're going to go deep into that too, because I do think some of the short-term swing plays, I mean, it's been a trader cycle, right? Less than a hodler cycle. So a lot of the times for a meme coin, there's different ways to look to take profits, and we'll discuss that. Kind of in a keep it simple version for the smooth brains, and then gigabrain version as well, in terms of how you kind of can spot those. But yeah, I mean, if you do, I don't want to encourage everybody to do too much, couple week swing trades, but sometimes they can be very profitable. So yeah, we'll teach you all about that. The white hat and the dark hat versions of those. But of course, you guys end up pressing the buttons at the end of the day. So, sometimes we can like teach people how to do a triple black backflip, but then they try it and they break their necks. So, we give you guys also like what level of risk is this strategy versus, the simpler versions or the longer term views. So that way, at least you can look at the long term of how to do, the macro, take profit side. But then if you do want to get a little bit, more in the nitty gritty, because you've taken so many crypto mindset courses, you've studied the fundamentals, you've studied the TA, you've studied the on chain, if you've done that research, then yeah, you should do pretty well with those types of moves. But that's also why we had the bundle for the Take Profits course with the crypto mindset course, because you do need at least one crypto mindset course under your belt to really take in the Take Profits course data and information, in my opinion.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of money to be made and stuff like that. So like someone was asking, right, it's like if Iran attacked, America's building and stuff, obviously there'll be a downturn. It wouldn't end the cycle, because it's just not all. If we were talking about like war with China, I think that'd be different, or a real war with Russia. That's about it. The rest of them are just skirmishes. As much now, if a nuclear arsenal, nuclear bomb, rocket, dirty bomb, something extremely catastrophic, that's something completely different, right?
Well, and a lot of the talk right now is on sleeper cells. Like apparently Iran has had, I don't know how much of a scare tactic or propaganda this is, but allegedly Iran's had, sleeper cell units for terrorism within the United States for ages that they've maybe only, initiated somewhat, but probably not much. At least that's what some like ex-FBI people have been saying, and that's what Iran's like threatening towards. So I think they're going to go probably more guerrilla warfare, so that we're going to go high and bomb the shit out of their country from, 30, 60,000 feet or whatever the stealth bombers go at. And then they're going to come, try to undercut, and scare the population, because the only thing that I think they can really do effectively, and we've seen this in the Middle East for ages, they've done great, not great, but they've done guerrilla warfare effectively within their countries whenever Western countries have come and try to take them over. Like, we simply can't control the whole situation in those countries. And so I think having them trying to take that to our soil is probably like the best that they can do. And yeah, I mean, if they scare the population, right, they can try to change sentiment. The stupid thing I've seen is there was one guy on Twitter, he was like circled a map of Mar-a-Lago on Florida. And he's like, oh, he's here playing golf. They're trying to, I'm like, bro, that's like, I know it's a joke, but it's literally treason. You know that, right? Like, that's so fucked up. Like, if you're going to do that towards your own country, like, because what they could do, right, is try to change the retards, that are super far left and try to, basically get them to kind of, join their cause to some extent. And at this point, there might be people that are dumb enough to do that, but then you'd have a bit of a different problem, on your hands. But that's just a total speculation on my part right now.
No, definitely, and stuff. And then the reason why, I mean, they could be stupid enough to close I can believe a temporary close on the Strait of Hormuz. It just wouldn't last. China's a little weak right now. Like you think the U.S. economy is a little cooked? Dog, China is not doing good, bro. They're full on having mini rebellions all over just because they've lost so many plant jobs. Like, I mean, like a lot of U.S. corporations are closing up their factories, as well as other countries, especially in Europe, repatriating them away. And that's not really repatriating, more like bringing them to a cheaper country or just a country that maybe is better on their not the blockchain, but more or less the supply chain. a little better on the supply chain wise. And I think that'll that's having detrimental effects because I mean, the most recent big closeout that caused a ton of problems in China was Volkswagen closed down all their factories. They've been fully operational for 16 years. They had 8 factories, major car factories, and closed them all down. So, and there were strikes on hand, and then obviously how you can own so the factory had to be owned 50% by a Chinese national, 50% by the corporation. And some of the payouts had to be taken care of by the Chinese national. Well, when they closed out all the factories, the Chinese national side, they never paid the employees. So a ton of the people working in those factories had not been paid for about a month or two when they closed. So they were working for a month or two, it closed, and they didn't get paid.
That's brutal.
So there's stuff happening. It's not pretty anywhere. I mean, literally, you have most of Europe right now. I mean, in shambles. I mean, Europe's always in shambles, but it's pretty bad. I mean, just think about it because Charlie knows this from being in Japan, how very not restrictive, but how much more tactful they are over there when they use their words. That you got the new prime minister of Japan basically saying we need to increase the income of Japanese by 50% post haste, and we got to figure out how to do it now. They're openly dumping U.S. Treasuries. They're the largest holder of U.S. Treasuries on the planet. They're dumping U.S. Treasuries because their bond market's so weak because no one's buying their bonds because they pay nothing. Now they're safe. They are safe. They can print same thing. They have the ability to print their bonds, right? The thing is the interest is dog shit. So possibly one of the reasons why not that Trump wants this, but the Fed's doing this is they're squeezing out every other economy on the planet because they could lower their interest rates down, but all their currencies are tied to the dollar. So the dollar's interest rates are high. That means even with their low borrowing costs, it's only dramatically weakening the other currencies against the dollar right now. So you have a huge weakening of yen. Now, obviously, there's certain currencies like the pound, maybe the euro, that are worth technically more than $1. But there's where people don't understand. Then them losing 1 or 2% ground every year is a massive loss in value. It's huge. The pound, I guess the pound always existed, but as an example, the euro used to be $2.50. It was $2.5 per euro. It's almost at parity. I mean, look where the Canadian dollar's at. It's at 40. It's almost 40 or 50 cents on the dollar. That's how bad it is over there. I mean, the maple syrup reserves are almost gone. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for the Strait of Hormuz and all that, what do you think in terms of the time, for squeezing that and just hey, let's slow this down or do some attacks through there to kind of shake things up on the supply chain a bit? How long do you think they could get away with that before they start getting extreme pressure from countries like China?
A week, 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah,
it's just not really if they actually close the Strait of Hormuz. Oh no, Flav. And it's literally good. Within 2 days, even China's going to be bomb, 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 Iran, bomb, 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 Iran.
China's we are now all of a sudden your allies, America. Yeah.
Well, it's because the United States doesn't really import. They export oil. We don't know. We do have the capacity to import oil, right? We have all the not foundries. We have all the way we can basically take crude from anywhere on the planet and turn it into gasoline or plastics. Most countries are very specified on the type of oil fields they're at. So, you have a lot of Europe that they can get their crude is mostly coming from the Middle East and from Russia, Ukraine. That specific type of oil. So, Venezuela produces mostly heavy sour. There's very few factories around the planet or these in order to turn that into gasoline. So it's a very certain thing where if you have your thing, you create it towards whatever. So it's if I'm mostly exporting, if I'm mostly buying from Saudi Arabia, my factory in China, in Sichuan, is going to be completely tailored to only take Saudi Arabian oil effectively. with like very few changes. So it's this whole thing that like basically it's kind of this whole retooling thing where it's very expensive to retool your factory in order to process oil and turn it into the type of stuff that you need, especially if the oil type changes on you, right? Like when we frack is light sweet. It's the easiest one to turn into gasoline, but it sometimes may not be the best for plastics. Where like the tar sands in Alberta and stuff like that are far better for plastics. Because I mean, it's so interesting. I've been reading all these books on oil, and like I never knew. I always thought like 1 barrel of oil, 1 barrel of crude is 1 barrel of crude, but every crude's a little different. Every crude's a little different, basically. So
yeah, I mean that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but you close the Strait of Hormuz, everyone freaks out. You'll get a stock market, not like, oh my God, the stock market is dead. No, you'll get a crash in the market, probably 5 to 10% crash in the market. Oil will spike up, probably $200 very quickly, and then the United States will, threaten with the carriers, and then China. I mean, that's going to really hurt. It'll hurt the United States somewhat. This is why I've been saying that. Like, I don't know why the United States doesn't do this. Is that we create a separate? We have a North American price away from the global price. Where like, yeah, it's not that bad. It's not that bad of an idea and stuff like that. So, sorry, I was fucking dying in that sweater.
Yeah, I figured you were doing something, but I was just
yeah. But it's the whole thing. It's a whole thing where like basically, we just have a North American price. The United States can basically, I mean, we can annex, Canada. We can basically bring Venezuela back online, which we can. And Venezuela has really not that many partners to trade with. I mean, Trump's already. I mean, if you actually look at what Trump's been doing globally, he was trying to bring Iran back into the fold. He was like, all right, I want to let you guys trade again. How awesome would that be? I mean, look, let's like all right. Just don't. I mean, I get the whole non-nukes part. Okay, no nukes, cool, right? But like, let's get you trading in here. Let's have you making money, and money is the great corruptor. It really is. It really is. It's like, it's the great not the great corruptor, but it's a great amplifier, but the great corruptor because. Once you have these luxuries and these things, you want to keep getting them. I mean, we've all seen what Iran used to be before the Arab Spring and stuff like that, right? And I think largely, if the government of Iran is toppled, we're going to have some halfway version of that, like sort of like how Saudi. And probably look at Saudi Arabia or look at like Abu Dhabi, I mean, any of those major cities where like they do have they do have their religious laws, but come on, there's alcohol. Prostitutes, there's islands for casinos. I mean, you have it all basically, right? Yeah, Myron's got some great videos on what could happen as well and stuff like that.
No, yeah, I put in one. I think it was a Citadel. I put in a tweet that he made today, just being like, what do you call it? One of the things he said was like, well, the reason why he voted for Trump, and one of the reasons why I voted for Trump was the fact that he hadn't got us into a new war yet, right? And there's still a possibility that I mean, JD Vance is trying to call this not a war on Iran, but a war on their nuclear ability, right? Which makes sense. I mean, they can't have nuclear weapons. It's just not going to make the world a better place. But Myron just basically saying like, hey, like let's not escalate this further. Like, absolutely is like kind of the sentiment that's needed. But and then also obviously him working for the government has very good insight into like how that actually operates. So
it's not good. I mean, one of the worst things you can have is high, like besides like the two big breaks on the economy is high energy costs, which is electricity, but really it's really oil. Really, it's really the price of petroleum. And what else? Interest rates. Our interest rates are already high, historically high. Right, where fucking basically you try to go get a 30-year mortgage at 7%. Maybe if you have like fucking 840 credit scored and stuff like that, and your last name is McDonald, you might get 6.999 or whatever, or 680. But like it's ridiculous, it's too expensive. So the real estate market's sort of stagnating. And then on top of that too, if oil prices are really high, plastics are expensive, medicine becomes more expensive, transport costs become more expensive, electricity production becomes more expensive. Everything goes up. Yeah. It's like that's why cheap. If we had $1 per gallon gasoline, that money floats into the rest of the economy. It basically will release pressure, and that's actually one of the main things Trump was trying to do in this administration. Was he's trying to bring up oil production in the United States up because right by what was it 2019 or 2020, we became oil independent for the first time basically in the century,
which is amazing.
Yeah, all from fracking, effectively from fracking. And we and one of the byproducts of fracking is we're large creators of natural gas, because when you frack, you create a lot of natural gas, you create a lot of very good light sweet crude oil that can be turned into gasoline very cheap and stuff. And Saudi Arabia did not like that. So what did Saudi Arabia do? All right, brothers, you want to do that? Okay, let's do it. We're going to take a Saudi Aramco public, only 1% public. And it launches at, I think at the time, it was the most valuable company on the planet. I think $2 trillion. Apple at the time, look how things have changed. Apple, barely $1 trillion at the time. The most popular company on the planet. Holy shit. iPad 5 coming out very soon, right? The new iWatch. And Saudi Aramco goes public for $2 trillion and shows that they have infinite oil. This whole thing is like, you guys, oil is running out in 2100. No, it's not. It's not. We're not running out of oil.
The whole planet's going to be in a, what do you call it, crazy heat wave by, well, they first said it was the year 2000. Then they said it was the year 2025. Then they say it's the year 2050. Then they say it's the year 2100. Like, yeah.
Beautiful, clean coal, Charlie. Beautiful, green coal. And you know what? Like, this is something that we, like, me and you have kind of put together that other people. I haven't heard it too much on this angle, right? Because obviously, like, we know, like, you know, you've got some family members that are in that space. You know, we've talked, and you know, we've been researching a lot of AI, especially for the course and stuff. We've got a really cool webinar on AI, which is really interesting. The future of AI when it maintains to crypto, as well as some social ramifications for AI.
Dude, if we have my brother come in and give a talk during that interest in terms of like AI on a broad scale, that would probably wake some people the fuck up. Like he's actually coming out with a book that's getting published here in the next few months about it. And yeah, like the stuff that we've been looking at with AI is fucking wild. Outside of crypto, just overall as a, you know, good concept, right? But then even just the crypto tools too are interesting, and kind of how do they fit within that whole tapestry. But yeah, if you're not learning about AI, it's you're missing everything. But I think you're going towards a point there.
Yeah, it's basically with AI that's happening right now. We're in a space race to basically have weaponized AI. I don't want to say sentient, but basically, or like whatever you would kind of Skynet. But it's our Skynet. That's from what it's been explained to me. Really, it's like this whole fight between, is Russia going to have the first Skynet, or is China, or is it France? Oh, please God, no. Or is it going to be the United States? And it's basically we're fucked anyway, but we might be less fucked because it's USA, what a beautiful day to live in the day, right? And her AI, so it's basically whoever has the AI, you're going to get less fucked with, because the AI is basically going to be our AI, basically. So they're going to attack other global stock markets. They're going to hack into other things. They're going to get all that data. It's going to be basically we're in the middle of the space, not the space race. We're in the middle of, like, it's like the Nazis, the United States, and Russia racing to get the nuke first. And obviously what happened last time, the United States got the nuke first, and we basically ran shit from the 40s until the 50s, where we could push around the USSR by threatening that we were going to launch the nuke, basically.
Yeah.
And every country on the planet is like scrounging to get basically these processors from NVIDIA, and basically all the microchip processors. And there's something called what? The Nazis were trying to create the nuke. They actually were working on it first, technically.
Yeah.
Operation Paperclip, dogs. But what's happening there is that there's something. If you search the news for brownouts, they've been happening a lot all over the planet lately. And I didn't really notice it too much. I noticed it sometimes in the United States, here and there, in some grid systems. But when I started noticing, is like I started seeing news things of tons of brownouts happening across Europe. Why is it happening across Europe? Because they basically, most of Europe, the United States, besides China, in Russia have basically not been creating power plants or nuclear power plants. They've been shutting down coal plants. We're trying to go more towards renewable energies, and renewable energies just don't produce enough electricity. Now, if you get them up and running and they're in good environments, they can produce energy more or less, but they're very highly costly. They cost a lot of money to produce, and eventually, if you can get them to a point where like they're actually very profitable, it just takes a lot of time and energy and money versus like I just open a coal plant, done, and it's producing tons of energy. Or nuclear plant route. Yeah, brownout. Somebody call ICE. That's right.
Well, the thing I was going to add to that essentially is, yeah, it's a race for technology, but in order to create the technology, you need energy, right? And so it actually will be an energy race is behind AI, and that's interesting, right? Because like, there hasn't really been anything to kind of upset the powers that be, with the way we currently get energy. But it's like the only thing where it's like, okay, they'll finally like, change and be like, hey, we're going to get more efficient energy, not because we want to save the planet, but because we need more power, right? Like we need more power to have the best AI system. So I think there'll be a lot more countries that are willing to open nuclear plants, when the time comes, because if push comes to shove, if they're behind that race, bro, they're going to be left behind so bad.
Google has partnered with Kratos Power to develop a fleet of small modular nuclear reactors. They've been afraid to do this because they could have done this a very long time ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But they're afraid to do it because people might turn them into dirty bombs or some shit like that. But like,
or just like, it's the thing with Fukushima, right? Was they were cheap bastards. They bought like the cheaper nuclear facility, put it in an area where it's like could get hit by tsunamis or earthquakes, right? And then like there was actually about 10 years before Fukushima happened, there was a city council meeting where for literally less than 5 or 10 minutes they addressed the threat of tsunamis on the facility, and they were like, yeah, we could basically pay for an upgrade on this reactor. They could, I forgot what it was, but it was some sort of shell around it that they can build, like retrograde even, because it was originally built kind of cheap. They could do that. And then during the city council meeting or whatever it was, they were just like, yeah, that's too expensive. Anyways, next. And it's just like, damn, bros. Like you literally could have had zero, catastrophe there during that time if you had just like paid up a bit extra. So like that's the key for a lot of this technology, right? Is just, if they're willing to pay.
Yep. They built it on a fissure and stuff like that. And it is expensive when done right, but it's just something with nuclear energy. You just don't fuck around. You pay the extra. You get it done right. Oh my God. I haven't, if I was in Japan, this is me being Japanese racist a little bit. It's like, I was going to say, just have a bunch of could Godzilla attack it? Is there something that's always on my mind?
Right.
If I was Japan,
absolutely. Well, and here's the thing about the Godzilla movie that came out a few years ago in Japan. There's a scene where he tramples all these skyscrapers in the center of Tokyo, and Japanese people, when they went to the theater, were actually cheering a lot of the time because they're like, "There's my office. He's crashing my office."
Dude, you know what? Godzilla, the best Godzilla movie I've ever seen has been Godzilla -1, the newest, the most recent one.
I haven't seen that one.
It is incredible. It's based off of just like the World War II is just ending. It's in that period between like 1945 to 48, maybe 50.
Okay,
like right there, and it's so incredible because basically Godzilla is just basically a representation of a nuclear destruction blast, or basically a bomb. Yeah, because when he fires his his blast, he essentially destroys everything. But it is such a good movie, man. Like it's 10 out of 10 recommend. And they made that movie with like I think $15 million budget, and it's like one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. It's such a great film, and it's so good. And you have the old school like Chad Japanese, like Seppaku, like motherfuckers like that. Like, oh my God, it's incredible. They're making a sequel. Oh, dude, that's I'm telling you, it's such a good movie. And pretty much all the weapons they're using are pretty historically accurate, and they're using even experimental planes they did have, but just they didn't have the metal to produce many of them. It's just pretty cool. Was there a hit to Mothra? I can't recall. But very good story. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Shit, what was I going with the AI thing? Yeah, so the brownouts. So the brownouts, basically all these countries are secretly, because they don't have enough electricity on their private stuff, that they're drawing from the main power grid of their own country to make up for this energy, and then it's putting a strain on their local power grids across the planet because they're all secretly doing it. And on top of that, too, not the advent, but really the proliferation of basically electric cars of also putting a strain on the power grids as well, because there's many power grids. I mean, maybe San Francisco could handle it, and they're probably not really, but there's some power grids where you're trying to get a lot of Teslas, because Teslas are really cheap. They're $30, and people are forgetting China has a shit ton of them too, and much cheaper than Teslas, probably not as good. And it's putting a huge strain on the thing, on the power grid. So you're having this double whammy where like AI needs electricity and the electric cars are booming on top of that as well. And they're cheap, and they put so much incentives, or they're going bankrupt, and they're so much cheaper than regular cars that it's a perfect storm, basically.
So what I'm hearing is it's time to turn the whole Saharan desert into a solar field.
That is correct.
Or even better, create fusion and create our own sun.
Cold fusion. Yeah. Mr. Coffee, or what was it called? Cold fusion, Mr. Coffee, like from Back to the Future.
Oh, I don't remember. Oh, like the thing that they pour.
Yeah. The Mr. Fusion. Yeah. But man, let's get into some more questions. Okay, so Tony, man, what's the latest on the Sonic season airdrop? It ended on the 18th of this month, so it ended about 4 days ago. Right now, they're in the middle of essentially counting out all the points. They are actually going to penalize some of the top holders because there's some weird stuff. I knew there was some weird stuff going on with some of the top guys. I mean, it's kind of pretty apparent, but they're going to distribute coins, 25% of whatever you're going to get. Let's just say you get 10,000 Sonic total, you get 2,500 liquid in your wallet. Bam. I've heard one is like it's going to send it to you. The other one was it's an NFT that's unlocked and you just claim it on PaintSwap. But either way, PaintSwap's about to be very important in the next few weeks. So I probably see a little bit of a rally on PaintSwap token in the upcoming few weeks and stuff. Free gem. Goodbye for all of July. I'm sorry. Not sorry. But a lot of shit's about to go down on Sonic, you guys. It's going to be a very interesting month on Sonic. But basically, 75% of your tokens are going to be locked away. You could sell them preemptively, but you're going to end up selling them for a discount. So, like, let's just say you got 7,500 Sonic, you may end up selling them for 3,500 or 3,400 or 3,000 Sonic, and you'd be like, all right, take it. And that's what a lot of people are going to do. So they could be anywhere from 50 to, I'd say, 70% off. And someone will make you liquid, basically. Yeah. You got Luis here. I have 22 grand. Yeah. So I saw someone's comment earlier. It's like, Luis, bro, my wife's on here, bro. Stop. But I have 22 grand to invest. I have access to another 30,000 soon. I'm mainly looking at Sui and Sonic. Is there anything else you guys would recommend? I'll be joining the Crypto Mindset course. I appreciate everything as you. Thank you. Get in the cash out course as well. So someone asked me, hey, I bought the regular course. Will I be able to buy the cash out course? Yes, you will. We're going to send everybody who bought the regular course an email with a link to be able to buy the course separately, but you've had to bought the main course or from there. Yeah.
Yep. And you'll be able to buy that until July 3rd. So we'll be in the webinars. Obviously, everybody who's in the course will be there in the webinars as well. So we'll be very vocal about, hey, now's the time, last time to get in. So you guys will have all the chances to get into that. But I mean, having some stuff related to Solana, because Solana has had a lot of action in it, is good. My personal favorite on Solana is Radium. So grabbing a bag of Ray, because Solana is going to move well this cycle still. I mean, it already has, but it will move well again. And when that happens, Radium will probably outpace it. But you got to be careful on when you buy Radium, because the downside is heavier than the downs. The upside's better than Solana, and the downside's worse than Solana as well. So, DCA for the win on that.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And then definitely that's access to another 30. I think this is why it's so important, because if we do get kind of the semi worst case, which is, they decide to close the Strait of Hormuz, What an opportunity. Because they're look,
It's
Iran
kind of like
will not be able to keep it closed. They will not be able to keep it closed.
Yeah, it's kind of like the pandemic in a sense, right? I kind of like the whole domino effect of this war seems more like World War I to me in terms of if you're going to kind of, because like when they what do you call it, assassinated, I think the prince's name was like Franz Ferdinand or something like that, right? Yep. When they assassinated him, then all of a sudden a bunch of countries had to get involved, and then since multiple countries were involved, hey, it's called a world war, right? I kind of get those vibes historically from the current situation. But like you said, in terms of the volatility that we could get from there being pretty, substantial, that does remind me, just in terms of like short-term price movement stuff, does remind me a little bit of, just, how oversold you were during the pandemic in March of 2020. Like everybody was freaking out and everybody was like, should we, this might end the bull market. And we got very close to an actual, break of Bitcoin's Elliott waves in this chart going, could have gone to a new low within that cycle, basically broken the bottom of the cycle. And that would have just led to a, kind of a crab, terrible sideways action. And we wouldn't have gotten the crazy bull market that we got last cycle. So, there might be that moment. I think right now, the price on the chart where everybody would be freaking out is if Bitcoin gets back down to its 350-day moving average. That's where Bitcoin got to when it hit that $74,000 to $76,000 mark back in February, March, right? So that's an area where if we did get down to there, and then maybe let's say we came down a little bit below that, like 5 or 10% below that, I think that would freak out the market enough. That would be a huge opportunity as well. But you can't if you're starting to get convinced by the bears that the bull market's over, and then that situation happens. I could see there's going to be a chunk of people who are going to sell their bags at that low, thinking it's going to go down below 80K, and then the price rebounds, crazily. So that did happen to some people during the COVID crash as well. So, this is where really having, the information of where we're at, what the data is looking like, and all that stuff from the course in the next month is really going to help people, because I know for a fact there's some people who've been around the whole cycle that just emotionally will get caught up in that, and they're going to sell their bags at lows if that happens. So, just like if you like, the last thing you want to do, with your bags is get emotional about it, right? You need to have the crypto mindset. You need to basically be steady and just, hey, what's the data telling us? What's the risk? What's the reward? And if there's enough fear in the market and we see signs that, yes, this bull market will most likely continue, then, you're going to have to take that shot. But I think last cycle, when it happened in March of 2020, like Greg, shout out to Greg B. I remember when Bitcoin hit like 3,800 to 4,000, and Greg was like throwing all his money, and he was like, let's fucking go. And I was like, way to be, Greg, right? And he got rewarded crazily for that. But like, why was he able to do that? Because he was paying fucking attention. Yep. He was in both the Citadel and the course. Or actually, sorry, we didn't have the course at the time. He was watching Moongang at the time, plus being in the Citadel, which at the time wasn't called the Citadel. But he was just in the cut with us and paying attention to all the information that he could get. And he won on that. But there's a lot of people who freaked out and gave up at that moment. So just don't be that guy.
Yep.
Yeah, Rito Rizzi in the chat says selling now is crazy. Yeah.
Pretty much what's the point? Yeah, they're gifts and stuff like that. It wasn't that long ago in April, we were at 74,000 thinking, well, I wasn't thinking it was over. I was buying, but but people were like, it's all over. Super funny.
Yeah.
But
Followed Zone mentions there, right? People were calling for 65K Bitcoin a few months ago. Exactly. Right. Like when times get tough, right? The tough get going, and the weak hands, the lettuce hands get selling because like that risk was there, but the probability of that happening, especially the longer that we held in the mid to high 70K range, it wasn't actually that big of a risk.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Well, Chef Tito, the final speech, since Bitcoin dropped below 100K, does that mean the bull market's delayed and the bull run will start in August?
Oh, well, I guess if you're talking about like an altcoin season, right? Because we're in a bull market. We still are in a bull market. But if you're talking about an altcoin season, yeah, at this point, since we did break that cycle low, we're not going to probably get new all-time highs on Bitcoin before the end of July. Again, there are scenarios where that, like that 10% chance where it could, do that. But just based on the data, it's highly unlikely that that's the case. So, yeah, in terms of like an alt season, like we need Bitcoin to hit like 115,000 to kick off an altcoin season at this point. And so, yeah, we'll kind of, what do you call it? That wouldn't really be likely to happen until sometime in August at this point. Yes.
So MC with the $5 super chat, what do you think is the end result for the world with money? Citadel talk, please. I'm guessing maybe what's the end game for crypto, or like how do you think it's going to end up going? I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a better system than we have today, but it's still not going to be perfect. And I think if you're smart and you know what you do with crypto, you'll be a lot freer than you are right now in the system. I mean, like, it's so true. Like, you can't, like, it's hard to take out more than $10,000 at a time in cash, and they're up your ass about asking you, like, what do you need all this cash for? I'm a degenerate gambler. Ah, okay.
Dude, I'm starting a drug grading business,
Yeah, it's like, I think I last time I took out a decent amount of cash, I think it's happened in California. They asked me, and they were just on my ass about like, where are you going to do this money? I'm going to pay off a car. Why do you care? No, we just like to know. I plan to fund terrorism. There you go.
Yeah. So what you're telling me, Miguel, is you're the head of an Iranian sleeper cell. We just didn't know it the whole time.
DCC Mossad.
And for the YouTube admins, that's a joke, by the way. That's a joke.
Fuck that shit. USA. But basically, people are going to be able to move money around a lot more. The draconian part of it, there's going to be certain parts. I would say Europe is going to be super cucked in this. They'll find a way. Some of the smartest people in Europe will find a way to move stuff around, but there's going to be a lot. I think taxes are going to increase in Europe substantially, and that's probably to pay for all the. I mean, they're going to forcefully. They're going to find a way to forcefully enforce taxation to a very high extent on Europeans and a lot of other countries, because their population's collapsing, and then they need that they're going to basically indentured servitude the population even more in order to pay for the boomers' deaths, effectively. Horrible. So that's not good. But there's going to be a lot of people that get very wealthy. It's going to be sort of the golden cage. I've called it golden cages, where you have a lot of money. You're still like, oh, wow, things are getting expensive, but you're going to have money to pay for everything. It's just going to be this whole thing where like you'll be able to move you just make the best financial decisions you can. Maybe it's moving out of the States. Maybe it's renouncing U.S. citizenship. I hope not, but like it might be something like that. Especially if you're not a tuber. Like, what's the point? Like, it might be worth it. Who knows? Chef Tito, do you still see Bitcoin over 170 and 8K? It's been involved in war. I think so. I mean, we hit 1111 with like the Ukraine war going on.
I think the price would have to go back below 75K to put like well, I could actually do the actual math. It'd have to go 15% below or more on a weekly close, 15% or more below the 350-day moving average on Bitcoin, in order to be like, okay, I'm starting to think the bears might be in control here, right? So as long as we're holding like low 90Ks or high 80Ks at the end of July, or maybe even mid to low 90Ks, the higher that we're holding, it doesn't change the upside move that we can have. And then also, I mean, the only positive of the Fed's decision to change or to delay rate cuts, the only positive of that is that after all this bullshit happening with war and other stuff, like once that train gets rolling, that could be the start of another alt season that could bleed us into next year in terms of a high on the 4-year cycle. So, the later in 2026, if we were to get a high for the 4-year cycle in 2026, the later we get it, like it would probably be in Q1 or Q2. I doubt it would make it into Q3, but the later into Q1 or Q2 that high would happen would actually cause the official bear market to be shorter. And to be fair, like I think that's what the market would rightfully need, because we've kind of had these mini bear markets, last summer, was the biggest one I would say for this cycle, but we've had kind of these mini dips where it's been, not really good for the altcoins and stuff like that. So, if we were to move in, like let's say we were to get a high in February, then the low is going to come in somewhere in Q4 of next year regardless. So that's, that would actually cause the time to be shorter there, which would be good. And then, we'll kind of see, which scenario ends up actually playing out.
Yep. Let's continue on. Where is it? Alaska Jack. What a great name. Alaska Jack.
Yeah, and he's been paying fucking attention too. I noticed when people, like Fallout Zone and Alaska Jack and some others in the chat, actually put in good comments and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I see you. I could see people actually taking in the information, which is great. You
see, this guy's already has got a bug out bag. He's out in the wilderness. The IRS ain't catching him. He's prepared.
He's definitely prepared.
Guys, can you do some moon maths for my portfolio? $15,000 in Sonic, $5,000 in Cardano, $4K in Doge. Pretty solid portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the big X factor is going to be Sonic, obviously, because it's your biggest part of your portfolio.
It'd be a 20x from current prices, right? If it hits $5, it's not bad. Not bad.
$300,000. $300,000.
Cardano, if the bull market comes back strongly and we get an altcoin season, Cardano is going to make a move too. Cardano, $5 to $10, if it does what it's supposed to do. So what would that? I don't know what the price is on Cardano right now.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It is.
I own Cardano. I don't even know the price.
Yeah, I know. Me too. 54 cents. So that'd be more like let's say a 10x or so. Right, yeah. Let's say 10 to 15x there. So that'd be, let's say, 50K. And then Doge is, what is Doge right now?
Doge is literally at 15 cents right now.
Bro, the best price for Doge this whole cycle has been about 15 cents. Like, that's just the good price. If it gets anywhere below there, like, I would happily go and buy a chunk of more Doge there. But that getting to $1 to $3, what do you think? Let's say $1.50 being conservative, so that would be a 10x as well. So that'd be 40K. So it'd be another 100K there. So what? Just shy of 400.
Shy of 400. Obviously, you might take profits earlier than that just to be safer and stuff like that. So it could be $300,000 total for the whole portfolio if you're taking profits early, making sure that, or it could be even higher depending on how hot it burns, basically. So good little range there, man. Alaska Jack in those Black Hills, getting that in gold. So that's Alaska Jack. We got two more. We got LV edits. I was convinced to take out a high interest loan. Took out $20,000. I'm in the CM. I was convinced.
Convinced by who? Some random keyboard warrior in the Citadel. Don't mind that guy. No.
Took out $20,000. LOL. Oh, he said LOL, so it's good. It's fine now. I am in the CMC. What moves should I take now, or should I wait to CMC to launch? If you don't have any coins, I'd wait till the CMC launches because you probably don't know what's happening. Hopefully you be careful with that fucking loan. I don't like that he says high interest loan. I don't like that part of that. That sounds like credit cards to me.
I mean, when in doubt, buy Bitcoin, obviously. So if you were to DCA into Bitcoin over the next 1 month, and then as you're DCing into Bitcoin, once you have an idea of what altcoins you want, right, then you can shift that money from what you bought into Bitcoin into those altcoins. That's one strategy. It's like a very simple strategy. But yeah, if you're like, hey, I'm going to take 1,000 of that right now and buy $1,000 of Bitcoin, like that's not bad. When it's under, like when it dips under 100K. So, but yeah, like the majority of it, I think, should be done mainly during the course.
Where's the last one? It's the last one. Quick, CC. SUI daily, weekly chart analysis.
Sure, and then we'll throw some Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoin charts up here as well. We'll look at the M2 money supply and Bitcoin. I saw somebody earlier saying they wanted to look at that, so let's do it. All right, let me share screen. I'll go with SUI first, just because.
Miguel, I borrowed $100,000 from the mafia.
No. What did you use as collateral? All my fingers.
A kidney and a bunch of blood and semen donations. All right, here we go.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. It's up at the screen. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll look at the Bitcoin 60-day cycles and everything in a minute, but let's go over here first to a SUI chart, since that was a question. All right, so let's see here. Oh yeah, so this move I was looking at from basically this most recent low to this most recent high. Where did the pullback happen? So far, SUI pulled back below that 0.618, didn't quite make it to the 0.786. On the second pullback here, right, it's come down here to the 0.618 again. Another thing you can do here on SUI is if you do, like basically this would be your A wave, this would be your B wave, and then your C wave is happening. Maybe you get a bit of an up move here. You get rejected at $3 and you come down again. But if you were to do an overlay here of, I'm just going to start it over here, an A and then a B. Let's see if there's any confluence here. Yeah, basically, I would say this zone is probably a good zone to buy. There's no confluence on the C wave coming down all the way back down to $1.50. That would be the worst case scenario in the month of July for SUI, in my opinion. But I think a good buy zone for SUI here is basically $2 to current price. So that's a good area there. And then let's look at the algo. Look at that. A buy signal is trying to pop up on the SUI weekly. What would that mean? Then wherever this week closes, if that buy setup happens, let's say it comes up here to like that $3 mark, that could become resistance because the sell signal is still strong. And then we could go below there. But yeah, the other scenario would be, yeah, let's say world peace happens tomorrow, and then boom, you start going up. But yeah, if you're going to go lower than that, $2 to $2.50 is basically a good area to buy it. Now, the question was how high could it go, or what was the question?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, here, I'll put it up real quick. Basically, he wants to see a quick daily, weekly chart analysis.
Okay, so that's the weekly chart analysis there for you. Let's go back and put that on there. Let's see on the daily if there's any other data that might be different here.
OKC won, apparently.
The game's over already?
Apparently.
No. Really? It started at like 7. That's only an hour and a half in. That should be like halftime.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up on my thing real quick.
What's going on, Metal Bacon?
Oh yeah, they did win. So okay, maybe the start time was a little earlier. Oh, I think maybe it started at 5 p.m. our time. Yeah, they won by like 12 points. So
damn.
Yeah.
I'm in with OKC. It's wild out here, Michael.
Yeah, I think that's their first NBA championship. So
really, wow, great, congratulations.
Yeah, I think both the Pacers and the Oklahoma City had not won one since the ABA NBA merger. So because the Pacers had one like way back in the day, but
who has Achilles in the first quarter? Dang.
Huh?
I don't know. Someone in the chat says I guess one of their best players blew their Achilles in the first quarter.
Oh, maybe Halliburton.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That's gonna be fucking painful. Oh my god.
Yeah, right. There's not really too much to say here on the daily that's too different, except for if you were to say like, okay, for this move here, maybe you have like the A, B, and then like is that C wave? And the other thing you could do here would literally be put another fib level on that. So like the A, the B, and then yeah, I mean, look at that. That's interesting. When you do the overlay of all three of those fib ratios, they basically all point to that $2 level. So yeah, my main scenario here would be for this to come up maybe towards $3 and then basically blast down towards $2 at the end of July, and that might be your best buy zone there. So it seems that has the most confluence here on all three moves. So interesting. But
fucking GG is on Twitter saying, "You see, I told you guys not to wear. I told this dude so many times never to wear pink shoes. Pink is a bad color." And he's wearing some pink ass shoes when he blew his Achilles.
Hey, he's good at calling the NBA.
Yeah. Oh my, dude, Gary would be such a funny announcer, or just like imagine a commentator. Oh my god.
All right. So the Bitcoin 60-day cycle, what we have here is it's interesting. The last two right translated cycles were both 43 days exactly. That's kind of interesting. And then each of the left translated cycles has been aggressively left translated, meaning the high comes extremely early in the cycle, which is also unusual, right? So that just shows Bitcoin here is having a lot of pressure around the 100K region. And so it's just, I think like Bitcoin just needs to kind of like, people are just getting used to Bitcoin being the psychological level of 6 figures. So I think we will recover and we'll make new highs from here. The high so far has been $112,000, which my minimum high for this 4-year cycle was 115, my bare minimum price. So like just being shy of that would be lame as fuck. But again, like I said, that 350-day moving average will be the area to watch, and I'll show you that here in a second too. But currently we are on day 18 of the 60-day cycle for Bitcoin. And we did have a cycle low here on June 5th at 100,425. So we broke below that today, not on a close. We did close actually up above that area, but we came down to 98,240, which basically breaks the cycle low. And then in my opinion, since we have, we're on day 18, the cycle can go as long as a full 60 days. But what have we noticed on all of these left translated peaks? This left translated day 7, 46-day low. Day 2, high, 40-day low, right? So I would say between a 40 to 50-day low is the most likely here. And there's others earlier in the cycle that were like that. But maximum, we have, downside risk until August 4th. But if we were to go and take that to day 50, which I think we probably have a low in by then, that'd be July 25th. And then if it was really extreme, this would be less likely. It'd be like July 15th. So sometime I would say most likely between day 45, which is July 20th, to day 55, which is July 30th. So literally the last 10 days of the month of July, that's your best zone for the 60-day cycle low on a left translated cycle here. Now, it doesn't mean we have to go straight down there and we're going to go all the way down. Yeah, like if you get really bad news happening, you can kind of, keep jumping down here. But I think there's going to be, like you said, a lot of volatility. Like there's going to be a really negative event and then a really positive event and all this stuff here in July. So I think right now, Bitcoin's just clinging on to the bottom of this support zone, about to become resistance at 101,000. Then we drop down here to that 200-day and 111-day moving average at least, which would be $94,500 to $96,000 Bitcoin. So I think that's your minimum here within that time period. And if we go lower, right, then it's just a simple support resistance game, because the main area here that price has been above most of this time has been, if we pull the line across, about $93,000. So if we went just a bit below the 111-day, let's say at the end of the cycle, like it could look something like this. Of course, like there's a million possibilities on how it will play out. But let's say something like this, where it comes down to this area, bounces back up a little bit, tries to regain this zone, maybe at 104 or something, it fails, and then it comes down and hits this line. That's kind of my best case scenario right here for this 60-day cycle. And then, maybe getting that within the early part of that, in this case, just as an example, it'd be like day 47. That's your best case scenario for Bitcoin here. And then after that, then you can, start to recover and try to head towards new highs or whatever. I think that's a very possible scenario, and I'd be really bullish at that scenario. The other thing you can look at is this 111-day moving average. How low can we go below it? Like this last time here, your biggest impact below the 111-day was about 20%. And I would say most of this cycle we've averaged about, I would say minimum 5. So those are your extremes. So it'd be about 12% is your average below the 111 day. So if we were to get 12% below the 111 day where it's at currently, that would be around $83,000 Bitcoin. The better we stay above these zones, the better. The higher we stay above these zones, the better. So if we stay above 90K or 89K, that's your best case scenario, or not just your best case scenario, but that's your most bullish scenario. So if you come down here and let's say hit 87, which would be the top of this area here, that would make sense as well. That'd be a little bit more aggressive. So you'd kind of come down here, not bounce too much, and then just, get that failure there, right? That you kind of see something like that. And then again, like if we were to average down here to 83 would be we're still in a bull market, but it's highest pain scenario. So you have a real hard time. You just slice right through those moving averages and you head straight down there. You get a really aggressive, maybe longer cycle low, and then you get like kind of more of like a V-shaped recovery off of that. That would be probably the scariest move for everybody in crypto, because it would be very similar to this move down here at 74. So if we were to go over to the golden ratio multiplier and zoom in on current price action, you can see this cycle, this 350-day moving average has been your main area of support. So you came down here to $25,000 Bitcoin in September of 23. We had a $24,000 price on the 350 moving average. Here it was $55,000 Bitcoin or $54,000 Bitcoin and $53,000 350-day moving average. Now this is on daily closes. This is not, we did get as low, I think it's 49,000. So you can wick a bit below there within the day, but having most of the closes above that 350 is what you're looking for. And then here we pretty much hit it spot on. It was 76,000 that the price was here in mid-April or early April. And that 350-day moving average was 76,000. We did hit 74 on the wick within the day, so that's a little bit below. And current area, which this will trend a little higher, but that current area is that 83,900, so about 84,000. So if we go back here to that, 83 would make sense on like the very capitulation move at the end of the 60-day cycle, and then like a really sharp recovery from there back above these moving averages. Because look at this, right? It was far below that 111-day moving average, and then the recovery back to it was swift as fuck. Happened in the very early stage of the cycle, and then that we didn't even retest it. We just went past it, held it, and then went up. So you could see something like that in the next 60-day cycle through August and September. So yeah, that's kind of like my few different scenarios on how low we could go. Now, where would the bears really start gaining control? Again, if you were to change this moving average into resistance. Now, let's look at the last bear market as an example. Here, you tested it again. You tested it this third time here in December of 2021. You came a little bit above, but really didn't bounce off that 350 with any strength. You went below it. It got used as resistance once again here, and then you were in the bear market, right? So if you have that, so let's refresh that. So if you were to, what would need to happen is you'd need to lose this 84,000 mark, maybe go to 79,000, try to come up back above it, but you really could, maybe Bitcoin really struggles to get back above 85,000 or even back above 90,000, and then it goes back down from there. That would be your, sign of the bears are now in control. And I think the likelihood of that happening at the moment is probably pretty slim. So there's your bull scenario for the current moves here, and then your bear, your big bear scenario too, which I think it's important to look at that. But that's pretty much your different type of price action that can happen. Now, which one is most likely? Time will tell, right? So as we play this out, if Bitcoin's just like dropping like a knife through butter, just going down here all the way down to like 80K with like no support, then yeah, that's probably a bad sign, right? But yeah, the more that Bitcoin holds up here and the more it bounces around, the more crabby it is, to be honest, the better. And that the later we get in the cycle, then the more confident that and then we hold up, the more confidence people will have in buying altcoins as well. And then last two charts here would be Ethereum. Let's see. Ethereum on the weekly has this sell signal now strongly in play after this weekly candle broke down. It's trying to hold on to its 20-week moving average, so you could see a move back up here to like 2,400 on a bounce before coming down lower. Previous support areas for Ethereum were around this $2,000 mark. And well, let's actually put on the VPVR. Yeah, you have strong support here in this region right here. So $1,500 to $1,900 Ethereum, like that probably holds up extremely well. That's kind of similar to this chunk here, right? You came down to it, you hit this zone, and then you bounce right the fuck off of it. So I could see something like that for Ethereum coming down here, maybe to like, you know, if it holds up well, 2,000. If it crashes hard, maybe it's 1,800, and then recovering strongly from there is probably a likely scenario there for Ethereum. The other thing with Bitcoin that I forgot here is just the what do you call it? The money supply, M2 money supply correlation to Bitcoin. There are 3 different times on the offset for this that you can use to try to look at what's the best correlation to Bitcoin right now, because that does shift, right? Like sometimes a 70-day, because you're only looking back, 70 days for that is more correlated, whereas the most extreme is the 110-day moving average. So 70-day moving, or sorry, not moving average, 70-day offset. So the 70-day offset here, I think it has some decent correlation here, but it's a little bit weaker on the current price. So I think the two that are better to look at are 80 and 110. If we look at the 80-day offset here, and just like, okay, it's pretty correlated there with this top here, with this bottom here. We've gone up there. You got this peaking here, which was a little bit delayed, and then you have a crash here. You have a jump up, which, the war basically says, well, we don't care about this correlation right here. And then you have a bit of a dip, but this is saying, if you think this is the best correlation, it's saying maybe around the end of June, you might get a surprise pump. So that would be interesting if something like that were to happen. But it looks like once we get into this part of the M2, it's choppy, of course, but mostly up and to the right. There you had the more extreme moves on this part here. But it's just interesting to look at. I would say the correlation here is important, but it's not like on a daily level. You're not really looking at it. You're looking at this more on like a 2 or 3 month, basically weekly moves, because this is not going to move exactly with the ebbs and flows of the M2. But if we were to go with the 110, let's see if that tells us anything different. Basically, it says, hey, we started pumping here sooner because we were pretty much oversold. Then looks like, yeah, to me, it looks like the 80-day is probably the most correlated with current price action. But this would say, hey, we just go sideways here, get a dip into that mid-July period. And then from about that mid to late July period, then you really get that next move going. And that does fit the best with how 60-day cycles tend to move. So yeah, just, 3 different times that you can look at there. It's good to play around with the M2. I would say the M2 basically tells us, hey, it's not telling us we can't go down. It's just saying once we do get oversold here, then the return to highs is extremely likely. And so the bull market's not over is, I think, pretty much the best information that you can gather there from the M2 money supply. And then this is a really interesting one, which is we are at a very important point here for altcoins, because we did have a double sell signal here After we got this buy, we came up a bit. We hit the next buy zone. We actually got rejected and have a double sell. So, and this is on the total 3, which is the Bitcoin and Ethereum, the total market cap outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, so your altcoin market cap. So what this is saying is alts are bearish right now, and they've come to their zone of support because we zoom out and we look at this whole bull market. This 50-week moving average on this market cap has been the area you got support the whole time. So once you recovered it here in October of 23, that's where you really started to get altcoin season type moves, right? And you came and you held it here very well. In the last dip for Bitcoin to 74K, we came and held this very well. You can see that you can, of course, go a bit below there. Like here, you went about 10% or 11% or so below there. And then you used that as support, but that was only an intra-week move. And here you went as low as about 11% below it as well. So if we were to go 11% below that 50-week moving average here, that would bring you to about like 700 billion market cap for altcoins. So if altcoins can hold that level, hold above 700 billion or high 600 billions, and then start recovering from there, that would be a very, very good sign. But yeah, this 50-week moving average, I think, is quite important for your altcoins. If you start going below where we were here in April, that would be more of an extreme move. I can't see the percentage, so I got to delete this one. But that would be more like a weekly close, 17 or 18% below that 50-week moving average. That would be a bad sign, right? That would be like, oh shit, alts are going to have a hard time recovering here, and maybe this is early bear signals there. So the more the alts hold up closer to this 50-week moving average, the better is the moral of the story here. So watch that in the month of July as well. So if you would like to join us here for talking about all this stuff when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz all the way down to 60-day cycles and these different price charts, then come over here to cultivatecrypto.com/shop and jump into the Q3 crypto mindset course for a cool price at $9.98. You can pay by GPay, pay by credit card, pay with PayPal credit, Apple Pay if you're on mobile, and others as well. So it's really easy to purchase. Jump in there, have fun with us. We're going to have a great time. If you would like to take full advantage of what we got going on here with the crypto mindset course and this bull market, and if you are like, hey, the M2 says we're not done with this bull market yet, and we're likely to get QE at some point before the end of the year, awesome. These are some of the best prices to jump in, and I'm going to be ready to take profits later. If that's you, which I think it should be for most people if you're looking at the data and understanding it, then come over here into the same shop on cultivatecrypto.com and just bite the bullet, take the Take Profits course as well, and I think you'll be happily situated there. And we're gonna, like I said before, we're gonna give some data that we've never given before during the Take Profits course, and so a lot of that data will be helpful throughout the rest of the next 4 to 5 years going into the next cycle as well. So super beneficial, and I think it's really good for you guys. We do have the schedule out as well for the Q3 crypto mindset course. So we got all the webinars for you guys. We have the current stuff in the market from the thesis of this quarter to top coin lists and strategies, some going back to fundamentals and basics here so that you guys can review some stuff, but then also gain some extra golden nuggets with risk management, on-chain data, fundamental analysis, and technical analysis. But then we have our first SUI ecosystem breakdown, which we've never done in any of our courses or on YouTube. We also have that AI that we were talking about in crypto. And then we have what Wall Street's doing along with the real world assets there. So yeah, we pretty much have everything here for you guys and more, because we're going to have some guests that come into some of these webinars, but then also some flash webinars as well. So we got it all for you guys. We're looking forward to it. But Miguel, is there anything I missed?
Well, you covered it pretty well, but definitely. Like one webinar I'm really excited about is the Wall Street and RWAs.
Yep.
We're really going to show basically, especially, we can only go off of what they've actually released in terms of purchases and stuff, but it's one where we've researched into to show you guys like where is Wall Street putting their money.
Yep.
Factually, like what kind of Bitcoin are they holding? Are they buying Ethereum? What are they purchasing companies? And the answer is yes. Yes. Nonstop. Yes. They're buying all the infrastructure, they're buying all the Bitcoin, and they're buying all the Ethereum. And you are getting flooded out. Incredible.
Exactly, right? And like the cool thing about that, right, is once you start seeing massive inflows in mid to late July here into Bitcoin, into spot Bitcoin ETFs and into spot Ethereum ETFs, that's a huge sign that Wall Street's like, we're kind of, too low in price right now. It's too good of a purchase to ignore. And then they start buying heavily, and that does turn around the price often. So yeah, good stuff. Get in or have fun staying poor, as they may say. I'll stop sharing the screen.
There we go. Yeah,
Fade to black. No.
Definitely. But in terms of when Coinbase will list, I mean, it would be nice if it listed. It does look it's going to get listed soonish in the next quarter, but it could be very well sort of a third quarter thing for sure with the Coinbase listing and stuff like that. But I mean, you can already sell it on multiple exchanges, so there isn't really a problem where to fucking sell it, basically, if you're going to sell it. Yeah. What gets tricky is like selling like a high amount if the liquidity is gone of like some altcoin underneath it and stuff like that. But definitely, yeah. Let me see if I saw. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought there was another super chat. But yeah, man, I'm getting pretty excited. I've got the powder ready. I'm just DCAing and stuff like that. But that's why I kind of told people on my last stream to kind of make a DCA now, but hold off till Monday on some of the bigger purchases, because I think, if the stock market ends up actually, you can never know. You might have a slight dip and then rally, or it might just be a huge dip, and then that's where you really buy the really low. What kind of powder? Peruvian.
Peruvian magic potato powder.
Yeah. It's like Charlie and Miguel. Are you guys in what? Are you guys in the LA time zone for the courses? So the time zone for the courses are done in EST, but we're in PST over here because we're in Vegas.
We live on the West Coast, but just for ease, kind of how TV shows put everything in Eastern Standard Time. That's what we do for the schedule there. So every 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. And 7 a.m. Pacific.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a little early in the morning for on the West Coast, but it's a little better for the East Coast guys. But that way we've been able to fit all these quite comfortably, and we make sure that we give you guys kind of a 2 days on, 2 days off to kind of catch up and kind of figure things out and stuff like that.
Yep.
And we'll let you guys, and we also give you kind of a heads up just in case there's any like, hey, we need one. We're going to give you guys one extra day off just in case we start noticing that some guys need more time to review content. We definitely will do that and stuff. So we have adjusted things a day or two here and there, just to help you guys out, everything like that. But yeah, Nasdaq futures are only down 0.9%. Yeah, I think so. But like, we'll have to definitely see. It's because they haven't, just because they threatened, people got scared. But if they haven't done it, they haven't done it. Also, Trump's probably putting pressure on China. It's like, yo, dogs, you let your oil go up 3x the cost? Go for it, dude. See what happens to your economy. Not good. They're already suffering right now from shipping right now. Imagine that the gasoline fucking goes crazy. That's insane. They import a bunch of their oil. I mean, they're huge importers. So,
and all webinars are recorded, just for FYI, in case anybody's new here.
Yeah, all webinars are recorded. Once we do the 15 webinars for the crypto mindset course, there'll be a little break in between, and then we will be starting on the cash out webinars afterwards, stuff like that. So, and there will be flash webinars for that. If there's like an emergency, like, oh, dude, me and Charlie see an opportunity to take tons of profits, or maybe do something with capital and maybe rebuy back in, we will have that flash webinar for you guys in this quarter, which is really good. Yeah, but you got to remember to pay attention. Right, if you're not paying attention, we had a couple guys. We did a private call with Castle Club Premium, and there was one or two guys in there that they were in profits. They just didn't look at the portfolio for about 6 or 7 months, and then they're slightly down now, and they're like, "Dang, dude," they're like, "Yeah, we don't." Yeah.
Bro, I want to learn how to call local tops, but I'm not going to look at the 60-day what do you call it, the chart for what 120 days. Like, it's like, I don't think that's how that works. Like, don't think you're going to be able to sell tops if you're not paying attention for that period of time.
Yeah. I mean, people are in here. I mean, some guys are saying like there is going to be a pump sometime in December. I mean, between like August and November. Of course there is. Of course there is. But there's going to be some sort of rebound pump as well as like an opportunity to take profits in the next couple months as well. You know, there's going to be a downturn after whatever relief pump we end up getting. You know, in the next few months, there'll be a downturn. It's all over, you guys. And then we re-pump back up. And then it's like, see, I never gave up hope. Didn't you now? You did it now. And, like, I'll tell you the next one. The next one's going to be sometime in probably early December, January. Everyone's like, well, is the cycle over? Is the cycle over? And then people are going to be scared because people are selling for a tax loss harvesting at the end of the year. And then it's like, it really is over now. And then they'll be like, told you guys are stupid. And then in February, it just shoots off or in March and be like, God damn it. I've been holding forever, dog. I've been holding longer than you guys. I've been holding for almost a decade now. That's how you win the game now. We make faster money than stocks, but we're having macro fuse in with crypto. You know, there's pros and cons to it. The cycles are getting a little wonkier, but that's what it is. We got to keep. It's better than not making money on your money. It's true. I mean, it's when you get that green candle that goes in your direction, and it's the best money you've ever made.
Yep,
your ass.
Antonio has a good comment there in the chat as well. I think.
Sure. Antonio. This one.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, "If you, go for
it." If you're debating joining, stop and just do it. You'll literally be a crypto expert in a month if you join. Yeah. And then we're literally going to be gone for a whole month. Like very likely it's going to be pretty much, I think, unlikely that we're going to be streaming in July at all.
Yeah.
Actually. So unless there's like a very rare interview or something like that, but like, it's very unlikely that we're going to be back on YouTube at all for the whole month of July. So it's a long, long time. And how some of you guys are looking kind of bearish. You know, your balls are kind of your balls are kind of shaking right now. Your hands are looking kind of papery. You might fumble, dogs. You might fumble.
Yeah, someone's gonna punch that ball out from between your hands, and you're gonna drop it. So don't do that. Get in the course and stay positive. Understand the market. Understand where we're going. Not from an emotional point of view, but from a data-driven point of view. So, crypto mindset for the win.
So Token had it just loaded in the
somebody last minute super chats. I like it.
So this is a really good one, right? So Token. So I have two cards. Which one should I have two cards that I could sell. I could sell one.
Okay.
I can get about $35,000 for one. They're both paid off. I want to make it this cycle. What two tokens could make the most gains, basically?
My follow-up question would be, what kind of cars are they?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
And 35,000 that's a pretty decent one. I'd say we probably bought them in 2019, maybe 2020, probably. But and they're paid off too. That's a big one. Yeah, what kind of cars are they?
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, I think Toyota Tacoma and a Nissan. Okay, so that doesn't make too much of a difference. Well, actually, Tacoma is a really good car. So, I mean, because it's a truck, right? I would say it's one of the better.
Sell the Nissan, sell the Nissan, dog. Yeah, that's the lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, sell the Nissan, put that money away, but always remember to leave. If you can get $35,000 for it, put 15 in the bank as a little rainy day fund. Use the 20 to really help you out, and as you learn more and more, then you can use some of that 15,000 you put away to kind of really put into there. But like, you can just, you literally could just buy Ethereum and do very well with it, or you can do Solana Sui, or maybe Solana Sonic or Sonics. I think Sonic should be one of them, but I would have one of the big ones, either Sonic or Sui. Sui or Solana as one of the other plays if you're trying to go a little more risk on and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I think the last super chat there was Bonkai guy with the 199, but it's just I think a hang loose.
Okay, that's why. Boom. Bunkai. Beautiful, man.
You're riding the waves. You don't want to be, stiff and what do you call it? I don't know how to describe it, but you need to be fluid, right? So definitely, ride the waves here, crypto, without being emotional.
Spooky Bear's funny, dude. He's fucking cracking me up and shit. But like, you know, with Root and Gala, it was like one-time purchases. So I don't know if you're retarded enough, Bear, to just keep DCAing into it, you're fucking stupid. I mean, I fucking went over and over it. I have these as a side play, make one or two DCAs, and done. Put it away in the ledger treasure. Just leave it in a MetaMask, and then that's it. But retards be out here just buying and buying and buying. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, like at some point you got to be like, I'm fucking retarded. I am fucking retarded.
Well, I heard the average IQ in the United States these days is 98. So,
Pro Shadow, bros that bought the course is actually worth it, dog. Yes, but you know, you don't have to join. You can stay in poverty. I mean, we're going to enter high gas. I mean, gasoline's going to go up anyway. I mean, you know, gasoline's going up even a little bit off of this bullshit. I mean, they closed the Strait of Hormuz, man. It's going to get expensive. Enjoy the cost of living increase. I didn't hear you. Did you see I was busy buying more root? Yeah, it's just these were like kind of one and dones. Now, Illuvium, that's a different play, but like even that, we limited it to 5%. But people didn't was like buy Illuvium. That's you know, people's personal fucking decision. You know, the portfolios were always more heavy into L1s or into the main ecosystem tokens. GameFi was always like a side play. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Fat fellas, yes. But it's fucking crazy, man. But with that, man, Charlie, we're gonna be on your stream tomorrow. No, actually, are you streaming tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm streaming tomorrow. What time do you want to do? Should we do our normal streaming time or a little later? What do you want? What do you want?
I think probably either a lot earlier or a lot later, basically.
Okay.
We might be going on a stream tomorrow.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if knowing me and Miguel, like it's probably going to be much later, but so like, what do you call it? Yeah. If we do it early, it'd probably be around early noon Pacific.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We'll release it. We'll right now we'll lock in the time. We'll tell the Citadel right now once we lock it in and stuff. But yeah, if we don't do that extra stream, then we'll do 2 streams tomorrow and stuff. I will do yours and mine, and probably at regular times if we can and stuff like that. But you ever heard of Cardano? Cardano, yeah. It's alright. It's whatever to me, but should be okay. But S is the way, you guys. But yeah, man, keep it simple, stupid. The SS portfolio. And man, let's go make this money, you guys. You know, like people see blood in the streets as like, well, woe is me, or other people see it as opportunity. We see it as opportunity. So with that, man, peace.